In this video I will show you the functionality of the Oracle AT Mobile Persistent Sample, which can be installed as a JDeveloper extension. In a few minutes I will generate a fully functional ADF mobile application that reads and writes data using a remote web service. In addition, all data is stored locally on the device in the SQLite database, allowing you to use the application in offline mode. Basic data synchronization functionality is also provided to process transactions made in offline mode. The extension works with both SOAP and REST-based web services. In this video I will use a SOAP-based service that I create from the ADF business components. On the service interface tab, as you can see here, I have defined two view instances, departments, and we have all the operations checked for departments and also for regions. Okay. I already deployed the web service, so let's copy this URL and we'll start with a new web application, a new mobile application. Mobile application, HR mobile. And the first step is to create a web service data control from this ADF-BC web service. So we go to data controls, web service data control, HR SOAP service, paste this here, and we need to change the IP address so the mobile phone can actually access it. Like this, and a suffix with WSDL, and there we have all the methods in the web service. We'll select them all, click finish, and you can see we have here the web service data control. Okay. Now the next step is to run a new wizard. That comes with the extension. You see here the ADF mobile category under business tier. This category shows up because we have installed this AT mobile persistence extension. Two wizards here. We'll pick the second one, which allows us to generate a business object layer including a SQLite database for our mobile application. HR SOAP service, that's the web service data control, and it inspects the data control payloads to identify the possible data objects that you might want to use and generate. So we'll give it nice singular names, so we get nicely generated Java classes, location, department, region, and here we see all the attributes for each data object: employee, country, and by default it marks the first attribute as the key attribute, which seems to be correct for every data object. So you can change the attribute names here as well if you like, but we'll leave it to the defaults. Here we can set up child accessors. So between country and location we have to match the country IDs, and this is needed to store the data locally in the SQLite database, the foreign keys, so we also can restore the master detail relationships while running in offline mode. So department employee, department ID, and the last one for region ID, region ID. Okay, here we can specify all the CRUD services, the CRUD service methods. For the department service, of course, the find all method find departments, and it has done some smart defaults by inspecting the method names it is guessing you want to use the create departments method for create method, etc. So this is all fine. We can specify the sort order. So let's say we want to sort by department name. Department name. And we have the region service, and again it already provides the correct defaults for all the methods here. Over here we can actually specify the arguments to all the web service methods that we can invoke. These two are optional if you want to do filtering, but we just want to query all the departments, so we'll leave the arguments empty. Create departments, there's one argument, department, and the serialized version of our department data object in XML forward should be passed in. So as you can see, all the defaults have been figured out already, have been set correctly for all the methods, and same for regions, all the methods there. So you have a number of options. If you want to invoke more complex web services with a number of arguments, you have various options to provide a value for those web service arguments. So last step, we just can set some settings that we'll leave to the defaults. We'll click finish, and here we have a whole list of all the files that have been generated. But just let's take a look at some of those generated files. Take a look at department, you can see all the attributes, and we also see an employees list because we have set up a child accessor to access the employees within a department. All the getters and setters have been generated as well, and also methods to add and remove an employee within a department if we would like to use that. And if we go and take a look at the department service, we see that this class extends the entity CRUD service. That's a generic class that comes with the mobile persistence extension, and in this class is doing most of the work to insert and update and delete methods, data both in the SQLite database as well as by invoking a remote web service. And you see here the data control persistence manager class, which is configured as remote persistence manager. So all the actions will be the actions against the web service will be handled through this data control persistence manager. Furthermore, we have generated a SQL script which creates the tables for the various data objects, and a very important file which specifies the mapping information. So for all the data objects, it specifies for each data object attribute, employee ID, how it maps to the underlying table and column, and also the name of the attribute in the payload, employee ID with an uppercase. So we have that for all the data objects, and as you can see here, we have the find all method, find departments, which will retrieve both departments and employees, right? And if we scroll down and we go to the department class, we again will see the same find all method, but we will also see the methods to create, update, merge and delete departments, right? So all the information that we entered in the wizard is basically stored in this XML file, and the data control persistence manager class that we just saw in the department service at runtime will actually read this information and will be able to call the appropriate web service method. So if we change an existing department, we will do an update using SQL in the local SQLite database, and we will invoke the update departments methods to also process that change against the remote web service. And there's a little property file generated that specifies at runtime where the SQL DDL script can be found, as well as the persistence mapping information. Okay. So we have two services created that we can turn into a data control, create data control. And now, of course, we can manually, using drag and drop, build the user interface against this region service and against the department service. But we will use another wizard, also provided with the ADF mobile persistence extension, which allows us to generate a default user interface. So we click the ADF mobile under client here, category now, and here you see a fourth option which has been added by the persistence extension. Click next, department service, and here we can specify some UI settings. What do we want to see in the list of departments? We want to see the name, and at the right we want to see the ID. Create, update, delete allowed. Let's use a divider attribute as well. We can go to employee, which is employees. We want to see the last name, and at right we want to see the phone number, and then in the second line the first name and email. The web service only allows creating, updating and deleting departments. The employees are included in the read request, but we can't change them, so we'll uncheck those checkboxes. We want to see the employee list together with the selected department, so we leave show on parent page to true. Click finish, and now the whole UI layer has been generated. We have a task flow, department list, department page with a list of employees, and then we can navigate to employee. So we can double click the department list, have a quick look there, and you can see a search area and the list of departments. Okay. If we click the binding step, you can see that the page definition has also been generated, just like when you would use drag and drop from the data control palette. We go to the feature, and you can see this is the department feature, and content of course is pointing to the task flow that has been generated. So we'll do the same steps for the region service, which is actually 3 levels deep. Regions, let's show the name, and we have country, plural is countries. We want to see the country name, and this time we can leave those checkboxes, because in ADF-BC we have defined relation, the association between region and country as a composite. So the ADF-BC web service also allows us to create and update countries. Delete is not supported. And locations, we will show a city over here, and then at right we want to see the postal code, and here we want to see the street address and the province. Okay, finish, and again a nice task flow has been generated. So we now have a fully functional application consisting of 2 features that we are ready to deploy. Application properties, deployment. I will switch to release mode when deploying, because that is faster to deploy and also faster to run. So we can choose deploy to device. Finish. You see that deployment has been started. Okay, deployment is finished. So let's take a look at the phone where we can find the icon. There it is, HR Mobile. So we'll tap on it. Here we have the screen with an empty list of departments, because the SQLite database is still empty, but in the background the web service has been called. So in a few seconds the screen will flicker and a list of departments will be displayed. Here we have the list with departments. So we can use the search field and tap on it, and for example enter A, and it will return all the departments starting with an A. So go back to the complete list. So we can tap on a department, say administration, and here we see the department with the employees. Okay, we can make a change. And click save, and we'll go back, and now it has been saved on the SQLite database, as well the remote web service has been invoked. I will show that in a minute. And if we click here, we can also tap on employee, Rafaeli, and here we see all the details from this employee. Okay, some other options here in the menu, and we can delete, and we can synchronize. We'll get there later. Likewise, if we click on the region feature, again, initially we get an empty page, and now the web service has been invoked in the background, and it will show a list of regions. There we are. So let's take Europe, and let's take the Netherlands, and change to the Dutch spelling, Nederland, and we can also see the locations here. Let's add a new location. My hometown. Install Veen. Okay, click Save. Amstelveen has been added, and the country name has been changed. So let's take a look in the database on my computer where the web services are running. So we should have the changes here as well. So if you look at the data, you see administration 5. If you take a look at countries and we scroll down, we see Nederland instead of the Netherlands. And if we go take a look at locations, then this first line here, you see city Amstelveen has been added as well. Okay. So far we have made transactions in online mode, and all the transactions have been sent directly to the remote server. What we also can do is work in offline mode. So what we can do is turn off the Wi-Fi connection on the mobile phone. So we go here, switch off Wi-Fi, go back to the application, and now we can make a change to this department. Remove the 5 again and save that. And we can create a new department. Let's say A team. Save. Now obviously those changes have not been sent to the remote web service because we are in offline mode. And if we click on the overflow icon, we can see now that the synchronize and pending sync actions are enabled. If we click on this pending sync actions link, it will navigate to a reusable data sync feature that is also included in the mobile persistence extension, and that will list all the pending data sync actions. So we can tap on one and we will see the details. Update with all the new data. You see administration without the 5, and we can also click on the create sync action, and you see here 18271. You also see some low-level details of why the synchronization action failed. In a real-life situation, you probably want to hide those low-level IP addresses, but you get the ID. Okay, so we can do a force sync by just clicking the sync button from the menu over here. But what we can also do is just switch back to online mode again. Just say we are off the plane. We have network connection again. And now if we go back to the application and we make another change. Say benefits. We'll change the department name here. 4. And click save. Now what happens is that first the pending sync actions of the administration and the A team have been sent to the remote web services, and then the benefits change has been sent. So if you now take a look at the database again, over here, go to departments, and we see administration, the 5 has been gone again, benefits has the 4, and we should have a new department over here. A team has been added as well. As you have seen, the mobile persistence extension provides all the infrastructure code to manage and handle data synchronization. Note, however, that this is not a complete solution. For each application that you build, you need to think about how to handle situations where pending offline transactions can be based on stale data because somebody else changed the same data before the data was synchronized. Your server-side application should be able to identify such stale data and refuse the data synchronization action.